you all very much for being here. We're trying to stay the watch and work on those issues, but most importantly, we need your help, and that's great that you're helping by being involved in this, because without it, we cannot be effective. We can't stand alone, but thank you all very much for coming.
Well, I'll just elaborate on some Siskiyou County issues quickly. I know that our Board of Supervisor members, Grace Bennett, Marcia Armstrong, Jim Cook, Michael Kopseff, and Ed Valenzuela are here tonight. But they would tell you that one of our biggest challenges is just the economy. Yeah, I mean, the economy is bad. We have 20.6% unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is closer to 30% if you consider the underemployed. And why is this? When my father got back from World War II, he went to work in a lumber mill. At one time, my cousin and my two grandfathers worked in a lumber mill. Isn't it sad that this soldier that was up here that was wounded twice comes back to Siskiyou County? She probably can't even find a decent job, and certainly won't find a job in the timber industry. So when you look at agriculture, which includes ranching and farming is our #1 industry now. And as I mentioned before, if the federal and state government agencies take our water, then we have no general fund, because the general fund is generated by not only tax revenues but also property taxes. This dam thing, we've already had these values on homes plummeting up to 50%. And when again, I'm not a scientist, but you ask the question. Let me see. You're going to take down 4 perfectly functioning dams that provide clean energy to over 70,000 people. Does that make sense to you? And it's not even and you don't even know if it's going to work for the fish. Another thing, I'm very concerned from a standpoint. You take those dams down, you don't have the flood control, you don't have the irrigation in drought years for farmers and ranchers, and you also don't have the water that you use to suppress wildland fires. And on the case of forest management, isn't it ridiculous that I was flying over the forest recently to look for some marijuana patches. We got some in the National Forest Service land areas, like Tom said. And the forests are so thick they look like jungles I've seen in places like the Philippines and Thailand. Well, wouldn't it be nice to manage the forest, to cut down some of the dead and dying trees, replenish the watershed, because a lot of these big trees are sucking up water, and give people jobs, generate tax revenues, bring back fiscal prosperity to this great county and counties all over the country? Wouldn't that be a great thing, for public safety and all of us? And another thing, when you talk about the monument, you talk about the dams, you talk about seizing water, you talk about any seizure of resources. And I've told all these federal and state agencies, a lot of the stuff you do is not constitutional, it's not lawful, and you're not even coordinating with us. How do you get away with this? Well, they're not getting away with it because great sheriffs like this are holding them accountable. Thank you very much.
These are tough acts to follow. It is such an incredible honor to have the ability to sit amongst these ladies and gentlemen, to serve alongside with them, for me to represent the citizens of Plumas County. But my strong sense is that our county borders are somewhat going away, because we are all so united in addressing the same issues. And in Plumas County, we're dealing with the very same issues that are faced by these gentlemen in their counties: timber, mining, water. In Plumas County Unified School District used to be one of the wealthiest school districts in the nation because of the timber. And it's gone. It's just gone, and the mining's gone. And now they're looking at your water, and that presentation earlier tonight was absolutely terrifying. But I think there's something they didn't count on, and it's this. Now, I'm a relatively new sheriff. Been in law enforcement for about 23, 24 years, but I've only been a sheriff for a couple of years now. But I think I can pretty safely say that events like this, the coming together of sheriffs like this, is something that hasn't happened in the past. I know with the Tea Party movement and gatherings in my county that I've participated in, I remind them, you know, as bleak as things may look, as challenging as things are, this has not happened before. There is an awakening of a giant, and that is... And they didn't count on that. They've been going along. Bruce mentioned earlier the travel management plan. What a benign-sounding, innocuous label. And that is the measure of the insidiousness and the calculated efforts that have been underway for a long, long time. And I only became acutely aware of this, for example, the travel management plan just shortly after I took office. And I gained a little bit of notoriety on the internet, I guess, when I was sitting at my desk and the newspaper called me for an interview, and they said, well, what do you think of this travel management plan? And so I told them what I thought. Well, that interview kind of went viral on the internet, and my comments started off with, I think my comments started off with something like, I'll be damned if I'm going to enforce the travel management plan and criminalize the good folks of my county. Well, when that article came out and it went on the internet, and my very best friend, he's like my brother, he's my assistant sheriff, Gerald Hendrick. Now he and I worked together our entire law enforcement careers. He is an early morning person. I'm a late night person. So I'll stay at the office till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. He'll show up at 6 a.m. So between the two of us, we were there about 30 hours a day. And so that thing hit the internet, and he called me at home. And he says, you got to get down here. Thought there was a problem. Maybe somebody escaped. We had a major crime. Well, our computer system was on the verge of, our server was on the verge of breaking down because of all the emails that were coming in. And then last month, I think it was, I had the opportunity to testify in front of a congressional subcommittee, and it's so nice to see so many of the people that I saw in Sacramento are here tonight. But I'll be damned if we're going to criminalize law-abiding citizens for doing nothing more than accessing public lands. And the support of all of my citizens in Plumas County and people now throughout the state and the sheriffs, it's very flattering and it's very humbling. But as I reflect on it, it's the measure of something that I find really alarming. Your public officials, your elected officials, either at the city, county, state, federal level, they should not be applauded, nor should they be celebrated for simply doing what you elected them to do. And the support is tremendous, and it strengthens our resolve, and it causes us to run faster and move these items further ahead, knowing that we have such an outpouring of support from our constituents. But you know, that oath that we took, we take it seriously and we mean it. And so many of our public officials, so many of our elected officials treat it as something of a convenience when it's, you know, appropriate. It's something that you have to subscribe to every day. Every issue, every day, all the time. It's non-negotiable. And as much as I appreciate the support, this should be the new base level for public service. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of the hard work, your dedication, coming out on an evening like this, spending the amount of time we've spent here educating ourselves, becoming acquainted with each other. In closing, I think the coming together of the counties is what will make the difference. When counties partner with one another, battling these agencies and these bureaucracies, when the federal government thinks they can take off Siskiyou County because they're broke, when they think they can take off Plumas County because Plumas County's broke, or Sierra County, or Lassen, or Modoc, or Tehama, Trinity, you name it, they're preying on us from an opportunistic standpoint. When we come together the way what we have, and with Oregon now, it's crossing state borders. This is not what they'd planned on, and it's causing them to rethink. I'm absolutely honored to be here. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you.
I'm Karen Bud Fallon. I'm an attorney from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I'm not sure how I got up here with all these guys that tote guns. But the next time I have to go to Portland to a salmon hearing with Judge Redden, if one of y'all wouldn't mind coming with me, that would be a really good thing. You know, I think a lot of people don't know that attorneys take an oath too. We also take an oath to uphold the Constitution. And you know what one of the saddest thing is that when you go to law school, you don't read the Constitution. You don't read it from top to bottom. And they don't teach you what that Constitution means. What people need to understand is that the Constitution is the foundation. The word Constitution means foundation. And if you don't have a good foundation of your home will crumble. If we don't have a good foundation for this country will crumble. Now let me tell you a few things about the Constitution that you all should keep in mind. One of them is if you read the Constitution, you will understand that the way it is set up, that the federal government and state government has to have a law for everything that they do. When the federal government comes out and asks you about or tells you what they're doing, you have the right to say, and what law allows you to do that? But it doesn't work the other way around. The Constitution made the citizens of the United States free people. And so we can do anything that the law does not prohibit. And I gotta tell you, I think in Washington they kind of got that swapped.